Welcome to the Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that remote. We have a council person here in Norristown, Pennsylvania, Olivia Brady, and she's a council person at large. In other words, the whole town. She can make decisions about the whole town. Okay. Now, I know her from way back when she was a councilman for 5 years, and then she took a little rest, and so she'll tell you more about that. But I'm zeroing in on Norristown and the county about the chief of police, the new chief, new council person, and a new commissioner. Josh Shapiro will be here next week. So we're talking about, safety and growth, economy, the whole bit. So here we are with Olivia Brady from Norristown, Pennsylvania. Welcome to Hank Cisco Show.
Thank you so much.
You were a council person, and then you retired after 5 years. Then what'd you do? Well, that 5 years or after you retired, what'd you do?
Yes, well, I was a council member during between 2000 and 2005. As you know, things were a little bit tumultuous at that time. And I left council to run for state representative of the 150th district,
Okay.
which included part of Norristown and went up through to Trapp, Pennsylvania, that sort of 422 corridor. I lost by 4% of the vote, and I wanted to get back on council to try and make a difference in my community.
Right. Well, I know you were very active when you were a council person. Now, tell me something about your background. Tell me something about you. Okay?
Well, I grew up in the Lower Merion area. My father's Mexican. He's a musician, a pianist.
He plays the piano?
He played.
Is he still alive?
No, he died in 2011.
I'm going to have him on my show for the piano.
I wish you could. He was a fantastic talent.
John, I'm sorry. Can't have him here to play the piano. John Doyle, we'll put him down at Center Theater. Go ahead.
That was actually one of the dreams that I wanted to have him down there, but unfortunately he passed away. My mother's an American. The two of them met when my father came to this country to study at the Curtis Institute of Music. She's also a pianist. She's still living. And
does she play any instruments or anything?
Piano and harpsichord.
She does? Mm-hmm. Wow, good.
I think so.
Hey, John, I think we recruited another one here. Go ahead.
So I grew up in a very musical family. My brother plays.
And you, how about you? Do you sing it? Nothing.
No. I did play woodwind instruments.
You played the radio and the TV.
No, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That and CDs and MP3s and things like that. So, but I grew up in a very musical family, so I had that as a background. But I decided to, when my husband and I first married, we were looking for a place to live, and we came to Norristown because we could afford to live here.
Right.
Norristown has a large amount of affordable housing, which I think is a big asset that we can draw on. And we've been in this community for almost 30 years and have got one thing that I wanted to do when I became settled, one thing that I said to myself when I became settled in a community was to get active.
Right.
So one of the first things that I did was to find out what's going on from a political standpoint and talk to the people who were involved. So I did get introduced to the mayor, who was Bill DeAngelis at the time, and Jeff Zolator, he's in Texas
Florida,
now.
Texas, that's right.
And Jeff Zolator, who was the 2nd District Council member at the time in the late 80s, and 80, 85, 86 time frame. And they kind of got me involved with it. I'd never really been doing anything from governmental political standpoint before, but I thought it was a good way to get involved with the community, give back to the community, and help facilitate.
You jumped in both feet.
To facilitate the abilities for the citizens to give back to the community.
Right. Well, now, your council of all Norristown, at large, they call that, right?
Yes.
What's the functions now? What's your authority you got, or what do they make the laws or break the laws or what?
Well, hopefully you don't break the
You don't
laws.
break the law.
The charter, which is what governs the municipality of Norristown, is what we call a home rule charter.
Home rule, that's right.
So originally, when we were formed in 1812, we were under borough code, Pennsylvania Borough Code.
Yes.
But the state gave each municipalities the option of writing their own charter. So the Norristown Charter was written originally in 1986, I believe, and for the first time. It had gone through a number of different reiterations, and they finally did get it passed. They structured it, it used to be where they have 12, we have 12 voting districts, and there used to be
Yeah,
a
that's
council
right, it was
member
12.
for each voting district. Well, now, when the charter was done, they split it up, and each voting district now has 3 precincts in it. So they have a council member for the actually
right.
4 precincts, 4 wards, and then we have, so there'd be 4 district council members and 3 at-large council
At large,
members.
yeah.
The idea is that the community member has basically 4 people that they can go to for issues. One that is specifically for their district, and the other that would be for the entire municipality. And I think the idea originally to do this was that each district council member was so engrossed in their own little
Yeah,
district
their own little,
that they weren't looking at things that were going to be good for the entire municipality.
I can vouch to that, Paul Sant'Angelo. Oh, my God. When he was a councilman, when he was running for election, he was, his father-in-law owned the macaroni factory, and he'd have a truck, flat-body truck with boxes of macaroni, and he'd go up and down Moore Street with votes, and he'd give everybody a couple pounds of macaroni.
Yeah, I heard
You know,
about
he,
those
he was something, you know. He had not much education, but he held it for 50 years, I think. 50 years he was a councilman, something like that. I mean, that's a record nationwide, I think.
Yes, actually it is.
So,
So the idea of having at-large council members was that they would be able to look at what was good for the
Overall.
for the whole municipality. So when I was on council before, I was a council member for the 2nd district, which is roughly
where is that?
well, it's roughly from Stanbridge Street to Arch Street and Elm Street to the river
Stanbridge Street?
to Arch Street and
And-
Elm Street to the river. So it
Wow.
comprised, the town is divided into 4 areas. But the 2nd district comprises a lot of the main area, Main Street and Marshall Street and the
Yeah.
commercial areas,
Wow.
and has a high percentage of rental properties in it. So I was council member there for 5 years, and when the seat became available for an at-large, this is the remainder of Dwayne Royster's seat, who had resigned from council. So this was a special election in 2013 that I ran for. And so I have a 2-year term, and then I could get elected if I ran again after 2 years.
Good. Now, what's your biggest challenge as a councilwoman here? Like that song, getting to know you, get to know all about you. But no?
I think the biggest challenge is to get the community active and engaged. We have a lot of people, there's a small minority of people who are very active and talk a lot about what's going on and what they feel their issues are. But there's a large percentage of people in the municipality that don't vote and aren't engaged. And we see that at the polls every time there's an election. You know, there's 2 elections every year. There's the primary, where the major parties vote on their person to run in the general, and the general in November. And we have cycles of these elections. We vote on municipal members or county, or then other years we vote on state races, and other years we vote on federal races. Well, Norristown has historically been a very low voting turnout.
Yeah, tell me.
In the presidential years, we have maybe 45, 44%, sometimes up to 50%. But in the off years, municipal elections like 2013, we very often have about 13 to 15% voters.
Wow.
So that's an indication that our community is not engaged.
Not engaged.
And there are a number of reasons for that. They could be ill-educated about what's going on and why it's important to vote for your local electeds. What I always say to people is, the president can't do anything about the potholes on your street,
Well, we got
but your
some.
local council person can.
Oh, my God, there's more potholes within the last week, I guess now since the snow melted.
Right.
So will you alert somebody down there to wait until, I know I went by down along, I don't know, around Main Street, I think, one pothole, there was a family of 6 living in it, you know. So let's not wait until, you know, get an apartment there, but, I'm glad you brought that up, because, it always happens, because the snow plows never dig it up and all, but they ought to get to it before they get too bad. In fact, down on Lafayette Street, 1700 block of Powell Street, we never had, very few, but now there's potholes there because of this weather, hot and cold, you
Right,
know.
right.
So,
Well, I'm
yeah.
actually on the Public Works Committee, and that's one of the things that we're going to be discussing, is the ability, I'd like to see an ability for the residents to report where the potholes are, so that we can prioritize
All
which
right,
potholes
how are
needs
you
to
gonna
be
do
filled.
that? How can you get the people involved to locate, I think Patch had something, you call in a
Right.
location.
Patch has something, the Times Herald does have a site, but I'd like to see more interaction on our norristown.org website.
Right, okay.
There is an ability for citizens to submit a complaint, but we are beginning to, you know, we're living in the 21st century. We have the ability to do more interactively, more
Right,
online.
right.
One of the things that I would like to see is the ability for the residents to be able to go on our website, report an incident, and have it get sent and directed immediately to the department that's responsible for that incident. And they have also some kind of feedback, because when you submit a complaint to the municipality, you often don't know what's happening to it.
Right.
When I was on council before, and even now, I would get people saying, I called the municipality, I told them what's going on, I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, well, and that's where follow-up should come.
Right.
You
There
know?
should be an interactive ability on our website to be able to track that complaint, see where it has gone. Philadelphia has a site, Philly 311, and the mayor in Philadelphia had put a whole task force. We may not need to have a whole task force, but we might want to look into the technology that's available to be able to allow our residents to become more engaged in the community and to be able to report these things. Not just potholes, but quality of life
Right.
issues.
A tree might be hiding the traffic light, the poles bending over, anything. Report anything that could help the community.
Yes.
It's, you know,
And I think by bringing more engagement on the community's part, that our community can get tighter. And I think it can be safer because more people have a stake in what's going on in their neighborhoods.
we have to do something to get people to come to Norristown. I think the meters we got there are confusing. I think there's, paying $28 fine is a lot of money, it's chasing people out of town. My opinion, I was in charge of women crossing guards and meter maids. And they had the meters, with the 25 cents for an hour, whatever it was, you know, but it brought the people in, okay? You need more, we got places there, you can't park here, you can't park there, you can't park. Let's get parking, let's make this town close. I'll give you an example. Years ago, the Roosevelt Field, a football field, there's a great big beautiful field. Don't have no parking, no place for people to park. Because years ago, everybody walked, okay? So now we have Elmwood Park, you know, the zoo over there, they have a big parking lot, and we don't get a penny out of it, okay? We don't get no taxes, we don't get no rent, we get nothing, okay? Now, we have what do you call it, the shell there where they do the
Band
shows
shell.
and all, the band shell. There's no parking for the Elmwood Park for people to go for the swings, there's no place to park. I never heard of it, okay? So, we have to create parking. Maybe Harding Boulevard should be narrow that, what they call a
Median strip.
boulevard, whatever it is, and so people can park there. You gotta park. Things have changed. People don't walk.
Right.
They drive.